What is happening, YouTube? So the NBA trade deadline is going to be next week, and Kyrie Irving pretty much shocked the whole entire NBA community. On Friday, he requested a trade, and it took the community by storm. There are so many teams that Kyrie Irving might go to, and the Clippers have been linked into getting Kyrie Irving. Personally, I'm really neutral on getting Kyrie Irving because to be honest with you, actually, no. I'm leaning towards a no because I'm not a star hunter. I'm not a fan of digging my team for a hole just for one or two rings. And I believe the Clippers could definitely could win the championship with the roster we have. All it takes is just to have the right rotations and just make some type of smaller upgrades and pretty much the trade value is of Kyrie Irving is going to be interesting. And I bet the Brooklyn Nets are going to ask for Brandon Boston Jr., Terrence Mann. Obviously, they're going to ask for Marcus Morris, which I'm fine with giving up Morris, but I'm not fine with giving up Mann or Boston Jr. or maybe even Kennard and Norman Powell because Luke Kennard and Norman Powell, for me, I would rather use them for something else, specifically during draft night because there are so many players that I could definitely see that would definitely fit in the Clipper system so well. For example, Jarris Walker out of Houston, Taylor Hendricks out of UCF, Gigi Jackson out of South Carolina. Um, those people we could definitely either use Kennard or Norman Powell to trade for. In my opinion, that would definitely be really good for the post 213 era, and that could bring immediate impact. I'll probably elaborate more on them in probably within weeks or maybe months later. I don't know, depends when's the perfect time to make a video. Maybe during March Madness. But I'm definitely not willing to part ways with Boston Jr. and Men or, a first round pick for Kyrie Irving. Because even you win one or two rings, I don't want to see my team be in purgatory for 6 to 8 years just because we win one or two rings. Like, sure, it's good, but then when when those years come, when once Kawhi and Paul George retires, once Kyrie Irving either becomes aging or when he just simply bails on us, to be honest with you, um, it's just not going to be worth it in my opinion. Like if the Clippers just trade Morris, Jackson, Wall, or basically just simply rotational pieces, because those are win now pieces too. Marcus Morris would definitely fit pretty well with the Brooklyn Nets. Or even if they add Kennard or Norman Powell, I won't be too mad, but I would not want to do it at the same time. But if it's just them, I would be fine with it. But if they add Kennard or Powell, I wouldn't be too comfortable with that because I would rather use them more of a chess move trade. And as for Brandon Boston Jr. or Terrence Mann, as soon as the Clippers hear that name, they should immediately slam the phone because those people are keeper. And the Clippers, they just need to get younger. They need not go after big names all that. They just need to get younger as a team. And for now, the Clippers just need to make the right rotations. The Clippers could just start by jacking up Musa Diabate's minutes, Robert Covington minutes, even playing Terrence Mann more consistently, giving Brandon Boston Jr. some runs, like slowly, and watch the win starts to go up. And Ty Lue, I guess I don't know like what he's doing. Maybe get him out of here too, and then watch watch the teams get better. You don't need to just you know go all in for Kyrie Irving. And I want you to take a look at these trades. For example, the Chicago Bulls. They were in win now mode, quote unquote win now mode, because that's what all these fans say to justify trading your whole entire decade for Kyrie Irving or John Collins or Fred VanVleet or whatever the heck they want to do. So the Chicago Bulls are in win now mode. They traded Zach LaVine, um, Larry Markkinen, and Chris Dunn for Jimmy Butler. Guess what? They were bounced out in the first round, and the Wolves got screwed over just for not even a good year. So just because we get Kyrie Irving, which, obviously it would be good in my opinion. Who knows? Worst case scenario, things could go bad like the Jimmy Butler trade. Because come on paper, Jimmy Butler would have been is perfect for defense for Carlton Towns and I, I don't know. I don't remember who they had, but with Carl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins, but nope, they messed up. They just messed up badly and they got knocked out in the first round. So you never know what can happen. But let's just say best case scenario, you get one ring with Kyrie Irving. He signs like a 4-year max contract with us. At what cost? Brandon Boston Jr., Terrence Mann, um, yeah, Brandon Boston Jr., Terrence Mann. Like, because I assume they're gonna ask for those players. Brandon Boston Jr. turns into a perennial 20 plus point per game scorer within the next year, and then the next 3 years, Brandon Boston Jr. becomes it. He starts cracking into the top 25, top 15 player in the NBA, and then eventually he becomes a premier star, and then who knows, Brandon Boston Jr. might hit a game winner on our head because BJ Boston, he's that guy. Like anyone who's a true Clippers fan, he is him. And don't be fooled by, like his inefficient stats because that's just part of having inconsistent minutes. And this is another trade and this hits home because Paul George for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Brandon Boston Jr. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they were in the same situations in 2018 and Brandon Boston Jr. is right now because the difference is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander got more minutes, so he had more room to, mess up and everything, and um, that's why fans were saying we're trying to make counter arguments on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was the top pick, he was starting, but of course because Shai was starting. If Brandon Boston Jr. was starting and everything, he would do as good as Shai, in my opinion, and pretty much. If you give all these superstars really small sample size minutes, of course they're going to have inefficient stats. Of course they're going to have games they shoot 1 for 5 and then games they shoot, I don't know, 4 for 7 or something like that. Of course, that's what happens if you give them inconsistent minutes. Look at Bones Highland and look at bigger superstars like Devin Booker or James Harden. They have moments when they shoot really bad. So you got to take into considerations before just giving up on a guy like Brandon Boston Jr. And also try to look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's game log against in 2018. I bet it's not perfect as well, too. Also, Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole, no one knew who was Jordan Poole back in 2018 or 2019. Or 2020. He was considered to be, just a role player. And imagine if the Warriors just were quick to give him up for a guy like Ben Simmons or Bradley Beal. Like you gotta look into perspectives and not just try to go after names. You gotta actually look at production more than names. And also, this is for the people who thinks draft picks are not important. Um, just because they're draft picks don't mean you could just simply they're just extra sugar to just throw away like nothing because eventually it may catch up to you and who knows 2028 is far from us and if we just trade 2028 2029 or all that who knows it could easily turn to another Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and it was for Kevin Garnett who was pretty much one of the greatest power forwards of all time and Paul Pierce who they were aging but Kyrie was aging as well is aging right now as well. He's like past 30 years old. But they were older, but still, draft picks are pretty important. So, gotta think twice before you make those decisions. And also, I could go on and on. The Lakers, they traded Ingram, Lonzo, Randall, Kuzma for Anthony Davis for one ring. And now, it's definitely catching up to them because the Lakers last year, once AD was hurt, they were doomed. They were in purgatory, and the Lakers are still pretty much doomed. And they're in the hunt for getting Kyrie Irving. If they do, they just pretty much shoot themselves more in the foot, to be honest with you. Um, but that's just my personal opinion. I'd rather have the Clippers try to go for smaller trades. Just um, first, I know I said in my last video, I believe, but I'm gonna just say it again. All the Clippers just need to do is just maybe make some smaller trades, like trade Morris to the Bucks for a farm of picks, and then you maybe get Ibaka in return, or Nawara, or all those people. Like maybe those players may not do too much for the Clippers, but trading Morris to the Bucks for a lot of picks will help the Clippers long term, and it will free up minutes for guys like Robert Covington to get more consistent minutes. And then, and also, then maybe you could either get Ty Lue out of here because we just need a coach who makes the right rotations, and we don't want a coach who just simply DNPs Terrence Mann, Diabate, Robert Covington over players who would just mess us up. Um, that's another way how the Clippers could just be a much better team. So you don't need to do too much. You don't need to try to go for a star and automatically just throw all of your decade for a slot machine. And also, for our point guard situation, in my opinion, I think we just need to use John Wall more properly. We should not be using John Wall in a three-guard lineup. We should be using Wall with a good lineup with Kawhi and Paul George. Doesn't even have to really start. Don't even have to really start him. You just play him with the right players and have him feed Zubac more, and pretty much don't really overthink it. That could like just doing these three things that could definitely help a lot, and then then make a smaller move for like a Cam Reddish to kind of like fill in with Marcus Morris. That would help us on defense. And Reggie Jackson, um, I don't know. You could either choose to keep him or trade him. Um, I really would love Reggie to succeed, but if you want to trade him, that's fine too. So there, you pretty much trade all of your liabilities. So guys like Terrence Mann is getting all the minutes, Wall is getting all the minutes, and pretty much you have a pretty good Clipper team after doing all that. So you don't even need to overthink it. Just like sometimes simple or stick to the basics is good enough um, to pretty much improve your team because you already have Kawhi and Paul George, who is pretty much one of the best players in the league. You already have um, Nico Batum. You have Robert Covington. You got Kennard. You got Powell. You got Terrence Mann. You got Ivica Zubac. So all you got to do is just know how to use the players. That's all. You don't have to just mortgage your future for a proven superstar just in the hopes of winning one or two rings because it's not worth at the end of the day it's not worth it to just to be garbage for 8 years because it's going to be painful. Trust me, you're going to celebrate when you get one or two rings, but it's going to be, I don't know, but that's just my personal viewpoint. And also, like I said, just use your roster correctly. But anyways, let me know what y'all think about Kyrie Irving, and let me know what y'all think of. You think should the Clippers go for a third star? You think the Clippers should just simply just trade everybody other than Kawhi and Paul George and just forget about the rest of the decade for a ring or two? Or you think should the Clippers just trade some of the players and then keep the younger guys like Boston Jr., Man for sure, and just try to be good all around and also what do you think about Ty Lue? Get him out of here or keep him? I would like to hear that in the comment sections. And now I'm gonna give my prediction on where I think Kyrie Irving is gonna go to. So the options are the Lakers, Mavericks, Clippers, Timberwolves, maybe the Raptors or the Heat. Personally, I got a sleeper option, and it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. The reasoning is the Timberwolves have the perfect amount of assets to get Kyrie Irving because the Wolves they dug themselves in a hole by trading their whole team for Rudy Gobert. Something not to do. That's why I'm not a star hunter. And people want to talk about, trade for that guy's a proven player, this and that and that. Gobert, he's proven to be a quote unquote good defender and the Eiffel Tower and the shot blocker to play with Cat. But Walker Kessler was, just a rookie, but he's already outperforming Rudy Gobert. So that's why you don't look at names and you actually look at what the player does. That's why I also vouch for going in for this upcoming draft class. We have our own pick for this year, and for the pick we should use is the kid out of Duke, Tyrese Proctor. That guy has a really good upside. I would love him to be a Clipper uniform. That's who our franchise point guard should be. And we should try to trade for an athletic power forward or a center for, using Norman Powell or Luke Kennard. That's why I want to save those assets for this upcoming draft. That would make us more deeper. And it would kind of be like the Utah Jazz, but better. You pretty much would retool. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George gets to play with younger players with really good upside that could bring immediate impact, at least from my point of view. But anyways, let's go back on why I think Kyrie Irving could be a Timberwolf. Because the Clippers, if they do trade for Kyrie, is going to dig themselves a hole. The Lakers, that could be an option, but the Nets want win now assets, so they're going to get Russell Westbrook and 2 first-round picks, and probably Austin Reeves and Lonnie Walker, which will help them, may help them long term because the Lakers are going to be pretty bad, but the Nets are going to suffer long term, and KD would want out. The Miami Heat, that's going to be interesting who they're going to give up. Maybe Tyler Hero. That could be fine, I guess, but I don't think they're going to do that. So probably, and plus the salary would not really make sense. They could do a Lowry swap, but that Lowry and Simmons line being in the same lineup is not going to make sense. And the Heat might have to dig themselves a hole, but we'll see if in order to do that. But who knows? The Heat could be a good option, a solid option as well, because Pat Riley, who knows, he might want a star hunt. But I would say the Timberwolves because the Wolves already dig themselves a hole. So, and D'Angelo Russell, he has been balling out. So I could see the Wolves wanting a different type of scenery and get a guy who's more of a generational talent in Kyrie Irving and swap D'Angelo Russell. I think it's the perfect move for both sides. And they're also going to probably trade Naz Reid, who's going to be very good in the Brooklyn Nets. That's a really good return. And also Jalen Noel to bring some scoring punch for the Nets. And that could definitely be a more of a win-win move, I guess. Kyrie Irving, basically, he wants a max contract, and he basically would like the organization to treat him with respect, and obviously probably win. And Kyrie to the Wolves could be a pretty good experiment. It could easily fail, however, but the Wolves at this point they're fairly desperate, and Kyrie with Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert, I feel like Kyrie Irving would help with playmaking. And I know Kyrie Irving and D'Angelo Russell, they're kind of somewhat of the same prototype, but Kyrie's more efficient. And I guess that Kyrie Irving is also more of just a little bit of a better playmaker than D'Angelo Russell, although D'Angelo Russell has been stepping up with playmaking. And so Kyrie Irving could also find a way to make Rudy Gobert better by feeding him the ball more, and Rudy could set Kyrie Irving some solid screens, although Rudy Gobert is hella stiff at times, so I don't know about that. But Kyrie Irving could bring some excitements to the Timberwolves, and the Timberwolves will definitely upgrade with Kyrie Irving being the better isolation scorer. And Edwards, it could be a wild card. Edwards could benefit, or he's probably going to stay the same. And Karl Anthony Towns will have something to be more excited for. So, and the Nets, they don't really reset too much because they get D'Angelo Russell, who's a walking bucket and a familiar face. They also get Nas Reed, who's a pretty athletic four that they could use, and they get Jalen Noel, who could also bring some scoring punch as well too. So that's why I believe Kyrie Irving is gonna be a Brooklyn Nets because I believe D'Angelo Russell. If the Wolves actually want to get Kyrie, I believe they could just get him with a finger snap because D'Angelo Russell is a perfect guy to get in return if you want to trade your star, but at the same time you don't want to be trash and hit the full rebuild button. But let me know where y'all think Kyrie Irving is gonna go. I know y'all in the comment sections if you do want Kyrie to be a Clipper. I bet y'all gonna probably say Clipper, but personally, realistically, I got him being a Minnesota Timberwolf in my personal opinion. But also, definitely but please let me know where you think Kyrie Irving is gonna go to. But anyways, thank you very much for tuning in this video. This is my personal opinion on where Kyrie Irving is gonna go. So, like I said, feel free um, to discuss your viewpoint, and I'll definitely give you my personal opinion. And if I disagree with it, I will end it today. Respect it, but I just said what I said. But anyways, take care. Have a great night, and definitely have a great Saturday night, and definitely peace.